Alright guys, welcome, ooh, my mouse is annoying. Welcome to another video. Today we're going to be going over Eeveelutions in the U150 format. Now, quick preface on Eeveelutions. Eeveelutions is a very hard deck to build, very hard deck to play. You kind of have to have a specific goal in mind when you're looking at building this. There's one or two ways you can go about it. You can go about it as a counter everything, hit for weakness type of deck, which is what we did. Or you can go really focused on Flareon and making it a discard everything deck while having other evolutions to kind of back it up, right? Or, actually there is a third way, or you can focus on abilities, not abilities, but status conditions, abilities that give status conditions, because you have the old Flareon EX, you have Leafeon Undaunted. You can build it something like that where you're doing a whole bunch of status condition sort of things. But we decided to build it kind of vanilla and just, hey, I have this type of Eevee, you're weak to fire, I'm going to go in. Or you're weak to grass, I'm just going to blow you up left and right sort of thing. Or, you know, you have a lot of abilities, so boom, 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 that sort of thing. The other issue with the Eeveelution deck is that you only can actually play 5 Eevees. You have 4 that are being called Eevee, the name Eevee, and then there's only one that has an alternative name, that's Lieutenant Surge's Eevee, so you really can only play 5, which does kind of hinder the whole, hey, I want multiple Eevees out at the same time thing. There are a lot of Eevees that are like, if you have this evolution in play, give all of your evolutions this ability, but you can't waste a bench spot on that, have an attacker, your 2 bench sitters, your starter for the turn, like, it starts getting really sketchy really quickly. So that's why I think we go with the box version. These Eevees are the ones we're playing right now. I say, you know, these are probably the 2 that you definitely want. This one says search your deck for as many Eevees as you want, but these 2 are ones that you can adjust. I am, after playing the deck more, I realizing that I want one of the Eevees that says when you attach it, evolve. I think it does need at least one of those, just for the turn 1 dark attach go into a GX, so you can skip the whole GX ruling thing. I think you want at least one of those, so I think these 5 Eevees aren't necessarily the 5 you want to play, but definitely these 2, obviously because you have to play this one, and because Chain Reaction is an absolutely busted ability. So, there are your 5 Eevees. I will go ahead and show you the evolutions. Quick side note, we are playing one of these. This is the only other non-Eevee, non-bench sitter standard Pokemon that we're playing, Lucario GL. Turns all weaknesses into ×2. The reason we play this is because we're trying to hit for weakness, and if they have any plus 30 weaknesses, we can't be having that crap in our building, so we need this. I've always been curious about what the ruling is with this versus Boundaries Crossed Vileplume, because Boundaries Crossed Vileplume says all weaknesses are ×4 now, and this is their ×2 now, so I don't know what takes precedence. I think it's either, is it the first one in play? I don't know. If anybody knows that ruling, please let me know. Put Pokemon over here, that's what I'm doing. So the Eevees you're playing, I'll be going in groups of 3, because they are kind of broken up into 3. Your non-EX attackers, you're going to be looking at these 3. Easily the best 3 non-EX attackers in terms of the evolution line. This Flareon late game is bananas good. Just being able to take all the Pokemon in your discard pile, add them up, and then blow something up. Your only counter being Trump Card, like, is really great. If they Trump Card you somewhere mid to the game, you get all of your Eevees back or your other evolutions back. You're fine with that. You get your DCEs back, your double rainbows back, that sort of thing. So this Flareon amazing. Leafeon, so that no one gets too crazy with their energy attachments. Counters decks like Magnezone, Blastoise, Energy Rain decks, energy or fire decks that are trying to go really fast. You have this. And then Moonlight Fang during your opponent's next turn prevent all effects or effective attacks, including damage done to Umbreon, by Pokemon that have Poke Powers or Poke Bodies or abilities or Pokemon Powers. If they have some form of ability, they can't hurt this guy, and he can tank against decks that have a lot of those things. I'm trying to think of some. Ampharos is an example of that. There are a lot of Pokemon that have abilities in that deck. Trying to think of some other examples that are like mostly all. I would say Magnezone, but that's not even remotely true. They got plenty of outs to that. But there are decks that don't have outs to this, so that's why we play it. Also, the dark weakness never hurt anybody, especially if you're going up against ghost types. 3 more we have here Flareon, Jolteon, Vaporeon. Reason being is these two right here, there aren't any good lightning or water attackers, so might as well use one of your other 3 attackers and just change the type. And then this Flareon is around for so that all of your stuff can be blacksmithed too, especially all of your GX attacks, because all of the GX attacks on the Eevees use a double colorless, so being able to attach and then blacksmith to those using this Flareon prevents the need and the focus for DCE, because DCE is very, very important in this deck. So having this Flareon kind of gives you that extra out. And then your GXs, we are going to play all 3 Eeveelution GX cards. Reason being is because they're really good, and they kind of give you what you need. If you're going up against the Psychic Week, you play here. Dark Week, you play here. And then anything else, if you don't need one of these 2, Curly Ribbon or Magical Ribbon on turn 2 to search deck for any 3 cards to set up a 110 damage attack over and over again is awesome. By the way, these 2 GX attacks, really not that great. It's all about Divide GX. That can set up a lot of cool kills, or just snipe for 100 to take a prize on a bench sitter. So this is probably the one you want to go for right away. If you don't want one of these other 2, your mid game is probably going to be Sylveon, unless of course you are going up against something that has Dark Week, or you need to start Shadow Bulleting. They got bench sitters that you need to put 30 on or something. They're all very, very good cards. It's hard to get more than 1 out a game, but if you do, you should be in good spirits. Bench sitters here, it's going to be the standard 10. You're going to play the 1-1 Baltoy line, the 2-2 Porygon 2 line, excuse me, and your four all-stars of bench sittingness / being awesomeness. You want at least 2 of these out at all times, so you can get good draw support in the mid to late game, as well as the 2 best starting Pokemon and the 2 best mid to late game setup Pokemon, or if you're just looking to blast through something, or Psychic Restore is a good attack, or there's a lot of reasons to play all these 2 cards, and I will automatically put them in most all decks for maximum consistency. Maximum consistency, all what U150 is about. So, moving on to supporters, items, that sort of thing. You're going to be seeing a lot of standard looking stuff here, nothing too weird. We're just going to keep going. We're just going to go in the order that they are right now. Of course, Guzma, Wally, Marlies, Rockets Admin, Hex Maniac. I'm kind of getting off the screen here. So the first 6 off the top are all very standard looking. Lysander, Rosie's, Karina, Trump Card, AZ, Sycamore. Again, all very standard looking. You play Karina because every deck plays Claydol, so you have a free Claydol search and a free Skyla in 1 card. You have AZ because you want to play either AZ or Marlies, but you do have EXs. Jolteon is an EX, but Vaporeon and Flareon are not. Plus, you'll be able to heal your GXs and not have them take 2 prizes. And a deck that does have a surprising amount of non-EX attackers, being able to prevent them from taking 2 prizes on a hurt Umbreon is amazing. Let's see what else you got. You got Teammates, Copycat, Juniper, Collectors, Skyla, Babies in that row. These are the 2 basic searching that you have. This is the best basic searching card. There's no reason to play any other ones. This is going to grab energies more often than not. And then the energy lineup in this deck is very funky, so this card even actually gets a little bit of a buff because of that. And then other stuff you have N, Oak, and Mallow to round out your staple stuff. The 2 that aren't staple that I'm going to talk about, I'm going to move these away. Get out of here. The 2 non-stable supporters we're playing are Blacksmith, as I mentioned, and Iris. A lot of conversation to be had on both these cards. We're going to start with Blacksmith. Like I said earlier, you have the Flareon so that all of your attackers can be Blacksmithed too. If you're looking at streaming Flareon in the mid to late game, this is also a great way to not have to rely on DCE. Turns all your Versus Seekers, your Item Finders, your Skylas, even if you're the other Porygon, out into Blacksmith. And then the other one here is Iris. This is a card that Grady and I have been having much debate over whether it is an auto inclusion in every deck. He seems to think that it goes in every single deck if you do damage. I seem to think if you're lacking damage, you play Iris. I am getting turned on more and more to the idea of putting Iris in every single deck. It's hard to find the room in U150. More often than not, I find this kind of like a luxury card, but late game being able to take a knockout with an Uxie, I understand. So this is one of the first decks that I'm featuring with Iris. You know, there's much more discussion to be had on it. So if you have any thoughts on Iris, please let me know. We'd love to hear your thoughts on if Iris is worth it or not. But in this deck where you're trying to hit for weakness over and over again, Iris, very much worth it. Moving on to item cards, mostly standard stuff here, per usual. A lot of decks in U150 still run the same stuff because, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You have Junk Arm, Rescue Stretcher, Level Ball, Scoop Up, Evo Soda, Misty's Wrath, Ultra Ball, Item Finder, Switch, not super standard, but, you know, Switch, Escape Rope, that sort of thing. Battle Compressor, also not standard, but if you're playing Blacksmith, you should play Battle Compressor. Oak's Invention, Swoop Teleporter, Bill, Communication, Luxury Ball, all very staple. You got Escape Rope, Super Wad, Retrieval, Versus Seeker, Pal Pad, still more standard stuff. Kind of weeding out the non-staple stuff so we can talk about it. And then the last three, Computer Search, Oak, Field Blower / Windstorm. These are all things that go in most every deck, or cards that you see commonly. Cards that you don't see commonly that are in the deck, we're going to talk about these four here. Surprise Time Machine is a way to switch out your Eeveelutions. It's a great way of searching out Jolteon, that sort of thing. If you need to get a damaged EX out of there, you can switch that out. It is more a reason to play the Energy Evolution Eevee. I think we're wrong on that. We need to play an Energy Evolution Eevee. That way you can like attach a Fire Energy, go into Flareon, and then Surprise Time Machine it into something else that you need. Professor's Letter, because the energy line in this deck is very, very awkward. So having more energy search is going to be beneficial. Timer Ball, you do play a lot of those evolutions in this deck, a lot of Eeveelutions, and flipping one heads on here is going to be great. It's a card that like sometimes isn't worth it in my mind. Like I feel like Timer Ball is just lackluster, but then having that extra consistency for searching out Eeveelutions feels better. But you could cut this card. I think you could easily cut this card, and I wouldn't miss it. As well as Fuji. Fuji's another card that you could cut it, I wouldn't miss it. Bench space is weird with this deck, because like I said, you need a lot of Eeveelutions out. It's always nice to have multiple Eevees out so that you can stream Flareon or however you want. So Fuji is just a little extra bench space. You could also cut this, and I wouldn't be upset about it. So, stadiums here, Skyfield, like I said, bench space is an issue, and Broken Time Space are your two that you play, just because of the, like I said, you want multiple Eevees out, ready to go, and Broken Time Space to get into said Eevees quicker. Choice Band, Muscle Band, Floatstone, these are staple. Choice Band because you're hitting for weakness, and if you are going the weakness route, a little extra damage goes a long way, especially since if you don't have a Psychic attacker, if you don't have your Espeon out, Uxie becomes your Psychic attacker, and having Choice Band to hit for 100 on an Uxie, oof. If it's an EX and you're Psychic weak, obviously, like that's your, yeah. You got your Elite Four plus Dowsing Machine. These are in more decks than you could possibly imagine. And now we're going to go to the energy line. Like I said in this video, the energy line is very weird. So bear with me here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 special energies. Probably the deck with the most special energies. Somewhere out there, Drifblim, Dragon's Exalted is smiling, licking its lips, because hot dang, you can really wreak some damage on this deck. These are your two doubles for Flareon. You could also convince me to play Scramble Energy, Boost Energy, and Upper Energy. Those are your other like easy DCE sort of things. But the deck doesn't revolve around Flareon. Plus, this is the only one that can be attached to GXs, because a GX and EX is interchangeable in this format. So this can't be attached to the GXs, and nor can Scramble Energy, right? And Boost Energy, no, Boost Energy is good, but Boost Energy is also not as good. And then upper energy is super situational, and I'd also rather spend my time on these cards rather than more double colorless, because that's for more the Flareon focus. If this deck was Flareon focused, there'd be more recovery to cycle Flareon, there'd be unknowns to put stuff in the discard pile, there'd be a lot of different things. This deck would be built very differently if it was focused on Flareon, which it's not. It's focused on hitting for weakness. So that's why we have rainbows over DCEs. Oh, and Special Dark, because Special Dark on the Umbreon does like no damage, so that little extra 10 goes a long way if you're trying to tank with Umbreon from Undaunted. And then your basic energies, you're going to be playing 3 Darks, 3 Fires, 2 Psychics, 1 Fairy. This energy lineup is fine. 1 Fairy is perfectly fine because you have so many rainbows. 2 Psychics is fine because your only Psychic attacker is Espeon. And then 3 Fires to make maximum use of Blacksmith. You have 2 in the discard. And then you have 2 Pokemon that use Dark instead of colorless, so a little bit more heavy on the Dark. So that about does it for Eeveelutions. A little bit longer of a video. I don't think I covered everything about this deck. Like I said, there are many different ways to build this deck. So if you have any other ideas or any questions, say, hey, well, my Flareon, or not my Flareon, my Eeveelutions deck is built way differently. Send me your list. I'll tell you my thoughts on it and what ways you can improve it. So, hope you guys had fun. We'll see you next time.